We 4-1-3-2 for Zambia with Shonga wearing shirt number 12 and 10 in orange leading the line for Zambia. A back four which is seemingly settled from the COSAFA Cup days of Kapumbu wearing shirt number 20-21, Shamujopa 19, Zio Tembo and 4, Adrian Chama. For South Africa, they went with the traditional 4-3-3 formation with some notable absentees. 18 plus players didn't actually make the trip to Zambia. But anyway, that was the selection. Expectation going into this game was that we needed to win because the stakes were ever so high, that we get a positive result here. But do you think that could have played on the tactical approach for Wedson Nyirenda saying, okay, these guys, 18 plus players, haven't come. They've come with a third-rate side here. How do I approach them?
Well, obviously, from the beginning, the aim was to win the game. And, you know, sometimes as a coach, you can be on the bench, you're not playing, but you have done your homework and you have taught the players what you need to do in the maybe 15, 20 minutes of the game. So I think he wanted an early goal.
Early goal. At home.
To settle the nerves of the players.
More so that we're watching Vespa not too long ago. Wedson Nyirenda's last home game was not good against Ethiopia. The local crowd booed the national team. Could that have played in his psyche in preparation for this game?
Yeah, Zite, I think for our coach also, he should also look at his objective at the end of the day. Because if you look at the way the South Africans behaved when they came here with the I don't know whether it's a C team, and compared to our A team here, we have a lot to do, especially with our team. Yes, we are picking the local players, but if we talk about local players, if they go professional, they came from local, so their attitude also should change. If they are local players, they should show to say, I am a player who can stand and maybe give results to my team.
Okay, talking about results, let's discuss the devil and the detail, the statistics of this game. It ended 2-0 in Zambia. Inspector Shonga getting the goals there for Zambia. Oh, let's look at the statistics, shall we? So, shots off target for Zambia, they got 10 compared to 6 for South Africa. In terms of crosses, Zambia put in a total of 10 crosses, only 2 landed on their target compared to 1 of 7 crosses that hit their target for Bafana Bafana. There were no cautions in terms of yellow and red cards, but another interesting statistic there is 7 offsides for Zambia compared to 1 for Bafana Bafana. Zambia considered 7 fouls compared to 14 for South Africa. Now, you look at those numbers and I don't know, to what extent is ball possession very important for a team, especially if you're playing at home, when you look at our team? Because last time out, we only had 38% of possession in the first leg game against South Africa, Coach Dean.
Zite, ball possession sometimes does not matter. You can have maybe 60%. But the other team can have 40%, but they can still win the game, depending on what you are doing with that ball position.
Are you comfortable seeing Zambia having lesser ball possession at home, away?
For me, it doesn't matter. What we want is the results, to score goals. How are we playing? Where are we going? Where are we taking the ball? It must be advantageous ball possession, not ball possession for nothing.
Okay, I don't know. Ball possession for nothing, he said.
No, to me, I will say no. sorry for my coach, because when I look at the ball possession itself, I'm looking at how we are trying to organize ourselves, not to lose the, because when we lose the ball, of course, we will give advantage to the other team, maybe to score. We may keep on passing for us, maybe to find a space of getting a goal. Sometimes you may find even these supporters crying for us when even we are doing the right thing by scoring. But they are there also to be entertained. But who is going to entertain them if we just want to get the ball, even if it hits you in your face, then it's a goal, we start celebrating. Let's also help the supporters so that we have so many supporters supporting us by giving them a good game, which they will sit and watch and say, okay, yes, Arsenal, I'm Arsenal, of course, yes. They play a passing game, which sometimes they win according to their ball possession, the way they keep the ball, and it gives them results. So on a ball possession, it helps for a team, yes, to make a good build-up and maybe see how they are attacking and how they are defending.
Could that be a source of pressure, Coach Dean? I'm just thinking. The point he's raised, the supporter wants for you to play fluid, nice, crisp football. That's the DNA of Zambian football, I think. But will Catanaccio be acceptable that we have less ball possession and we say and summarize it, ball and the goal?
As I said, for me, I'm looking at a different angle. When you talk of ball possession, you can be playing lateral passes without progressing forward towards the target. But we need ball possession, maybe very simple forward passes. If we are blocked, yes, that's a different thing. You can play back one time. The next time to be lateral. The next time it must be penetrative. And we must reach at the goal so that we can win the game.
All right, so let's look at the numbers. Talking about penetrative football, let's have a look at Zambia in attack, shall we? Of course, with the home team, and of course, the home crowd in Ndola, we're expecting Zambia to actually bring the party home. So let's look at it this way. So Zambia in orange on the screen, on the ball, Faxon Kapumbu, wearing shirt number 20. Now you'll see something that the back four was almost coming inside, even when we had possession of the ball, but trying to also find the white players, the shirt number 3 on the right hand side of the screen in orange, Ernest Mbewe, and of course Augustine Mlenga there, Mike Kativa playing in the hole there. But one important attribute we've seen is seemingly the consistency with how we want to carve open our opponents. It's almost similar. We are pressed a little bit. We want to go wide into the wing and probably make Augustine Mlenga and Ernest Mbewe our creators-in-chief, and probably allow Faxon Kapumbu, the left back, to actually go up the pitch and provide some telling crosses into the 18, Vesper.
Yes, if you look at the way we started the game, Zite, I think we also made a lot of mistakes. Maybe, yes, it's because we want to maybe have an early goal so that maybe it can be easy for us to move on. If you look at the way we started from, I think in the midfield, the transition from the midfield up front, like the way they were attacking, yes, mistakes were there trying to pass, maybe trying to attack through the midfield, which failed. And maybe we had even gave advantage to the South Africans to get the easy balls, and they started playing.
Okay, so let's look at our attacking prowess and the dividends that we're able to reap. So let's look at the shot structure for Zambia in this game, a game that we actually won by 2-0. Now, look at that. Look at how many shots we actually put in. We're actually popping, and you think, okay, that doesn't look bad. But out of all those opportunities, Coach Mwinde, we only scored twice. And we scored very late on. And according to Tabo Senong, he says his young players were tired. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yes, I think we played very well. But, you know, let me point out something. When I looked at, before we started scoring, I think the style of our playing forward was a bit advantageous to South Africans because we were pumping the balls to the front. But when we changed, we brought in Godfrey and we started playing wing play. And there were main crosses that gave us an advantage. And hence, most of the 2 goals, they came through those wing play and bringing in inside the advancing midfielders to come and finish off.
Now, I'm actually thinking, and I want to ask myself this. Okay, fine. We've played long in certain games. It hasn't been very successful, but every time we put the ball on the ground and decide to attack from the ground and play low vertical passes, we actually have been successful. Now, it took a personnel change for us to tweak that. To what extent could Wetson Nyirenda be asking himself after that game, yes, I've won this time, we are going to Chan now. How do I want to play as my first choice tactics? Do I want to play long or do I want to put the ball on the ground? What do I tell the players to do?
I think I can see 2 senior coaches there, Agarech Yang and Nyirenda. And those 2, they have been successful in their own clubs. And now they have seen the formula that can create goals. They are senior players, senior coaches. They must at least have seen something, and they should work on that one. Not only that, again, I should look at also the players that are being picked. Let us look at the system of play they play in their clubs for them to come and perform.
You know why I ask you that question? Because it's actually a salient question. I remember watching the great Wetson Nyirenda sides where they would actually play with lots of width, but lots of direct play. You can even go back 10 years ago with his successful stint at Zesco United. There used to be a direct team, play long passes into Enoch Sakala, into Nicholas Zulu there, into Renford Kalawa in the hole, into Yona Mwango on the left, into Jonas Sakwaha, Loti Piri. They were running riot. And we've tried to play like that as well here, Vespa.
Yes, Zite. I think if you look at this changing of our systems, I think it's also the way our player behave in the pitch. As my coach Dean Mwinde is saying, you know, some of these players you may introduce a system which maybe for him is difficult to maybe cope up with his colleague. Because where he's coming from, he's been told that as a number 7 or as a number 11, you have to drop, get the ball, maybe run back to your position, not knowing you can still interchange with one of the guys who are like number 9, number 10 there, who are attacking strikers. So sometimes it's good also to communicate even with the coach where the player is coming from. Because sometimes we position these players in the wrong position and tell him to do what he has never done. And these are national. This is the national team. You know, some of these players we are picking, we should pick them not when we go there. We start teaching them how to control the ball, how to head. But it's how we have this system which is going to be making our national team to continue winning the game.
I want to ask you this question, true or false? If you begin to play long, and which you are saying is advantageous to South Africa, true or false? If you continue playing long and you've got players like Collins Kombe, like Godfrey Ngwenya, and they're like, you're simply taking them out of the game. There are just certain players that can't play the long ball system. And because of that, you need to make the tactics to suit their strengths.
Exactly. I think that is what I was coming on to. When we are playing football, our players should also understand that who am I giving the ball to? And what sort of pass should I give to that person? The stature also matters. You cannot start playing high balls to a short player unless it's behind the defense.
Is it normal? Is it normal in Zambian football? Say, okay, Gentlemen, this is the way you're going to play. The first thing you see, long punt to a player who wants to receive the ball at feet.
I think sometimes
How do you deal with such situations as coach?
you need to train over those. And we should know that these players, they should train together for a long time to have that telepathic understanding to each other. Otherwise, there'll be a problem of coordination. But if they stay together for a long time, I'm sure something good will come out of it. As I said, Nyirenda and Agri, they are successful coaches in their own clubs.
Okay.
You have the record.
But
Okay.
of course, they should not be a shortcut. Because if we say our attacking should be maybe only 3-4 touches, then we get a goal. Then we'll be having difficulties. That's where you find...
What if you come up a team that's compact
Yes.
Now,
and is defending deep?
depending on the system, as you are saying, and you must also communicate from the touchline. You communicate with your players how they should change,
Okay.
or you substitute in order to suit the type of defending now. Do you need a recognized top man who is holding the ball and laying back to the midfield, and the midfielder will play to the wing so that you attack from behind the defense?
Okay. Now, let's look at what the visitors did, shall we? Let's look at South Africa in attack and what they were trying to do, and the demands of our team function defense from a Zambian perspective. So, South Africa in attack, shall we? So, this is the team that came playing a 4-3-3 formation, and they were actually playing through the line. So, if you look at their attack, this was what was happening. Now, because of the tactical or overload or the numerical advantage that South Africa had, by virtue of the formation they decided to play, it therefore meant 3v2 in the central areas. So you have the shirt number 10, 12, and 18 for South Africa in red, against Donashano Malama, the shirt number 15, and Mike Tiva, the shirt number 17 in orange for Zambia. Now, for them to actually win that duel, South Africa were very clever. They were able to form lines of pass. But because top of your screen, you can see shirt number 12 and 10, Shonga and Alex up top, standing square again, Vespa. You had a situation where our fullbacks, Kapumbu, shirt number 20, and 4, Adrian Chama, were now being forced inside to try to help dismantle that fire that was brewing in central midfield, where South Africa were able to form lines of pass and maintain possession in that area. And alas, when you move, you create space in the wide areas, those black shaded areas.
Yes, very good organization when it comes to the way they attack the South Africans. Yes, they are young boys, but you could see that the tactical discipline itself is there. They could listen and hear what their coach was telling them. Very young, and you can see that they are looking for something to come in future. Looking at their attack, you could see that it's a team which wants to get goals, as many as they can. But of course, yes, Zambia was a bit good in the second half. In the first half, defense, yes, we are shaking a bit. I don't know. They could make mistakes, yes, because sometimes when you are starting, mistakes are there. But their organization, like the South Africans, the way they are organizing themselves, from the midfield up to the up front there, you could see their number 9. In fact, the attackers, the way they were reacting from their midfield, receiving them, and sometimes they can leave, and maybe you find a space. And like our players who were sometimes ball watching, I wonder you could see even the ball possession compared to ours and theirs.
What could have been the rules of engagement? I'm thinking, Tushonga and Alex Ngoka up top, they are standing flat. There's a numerical disadvantage in central midfield. Who comes to actually drop and help the team defend and try to quarantine the threat that's been caused by South Africa?
I think depending on the side of the play, we should not have somebody who should be just be assigned to come and drop and do that. Sometimes the nearest person should come and defend.
But who should be nearest in that case is that if South Africa are playing out, the back four get beyond our two strikers, and there the argument says, okay, are you giving the two strikers the freedom to say, okay, sit back, Mike Katiwa and Mbewe and Mlenga are actually going to fight and get the ball, and Donashano is sitting right in front of the defense. And that's where the question of ball possession comes in, whether it's important or not. 3v2 in the central area.
Yeah, I think we need to look at how are we going to have that numerical advantage. And that numerical advantage is not supposed to come from the coach. We are 10 versus 10 there, okay? So we are supposed to narrow the ground when we lose the ball. Right?
From experience, what
Yes.
would you do as one of the Zambian players on that pitch? Who do you want to go and help? Actually, in central midfield, we are losing the battles.
Depending on the strikers, how many South African strikers are there?
They are playing three up top.
So if they are three up, it should be 4 defenders, okay? Then one striker must drop to come and make 4-5-1.
Okay, interesting. So now we can't play 4-4-2. Almost playing 4-1-4-1 or just a variation of the 4-5-1. Agreed?
Yeah.
No, I was asking you about ball possession earlier on.
Yeah, but it has come back to the same, though it's a bit different because
It's the same.
we are also trying to see how much goals we are getting out of the same. But if we look at the way they are attacking and our ball possession, it's almost the same.
So we needed to manage that battle.
Yes.
Agreed. Okay, let's look at Zambia's interceptions, shall we? So it was a game where you needed to break down the opponents and break them down good. Now, where the stripes balls are, show you where Zambia intercepted the ball in the first half, and where the conventional balls are is where we won we disconnected or terminated South Africa's attack in the second half. So only 3 times throughout the game did we actually win the ball in the South African half. But most of the action, look at the action areas, and that's the right back position. Who's operating right back? Adrian Chama. Who's next to Adrian Chama? Charles Shamujopa. Who's next to Shamujopa? Zio Tembo. Who's next to Zio Tembo? Faxon Kapumbo. That's a lot of action, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're talking about that battle is that from midfield they win that 3v2 battle, and look at where they were going and look at where we needed to curtail their attacks from. Coach Dave.
Yeah, I think, what can I say? We failed to defend in those areas because I think the positioning was more
The South African side.
the South African side. So I think there must have been something wrong where we were supposed to have, we didn't want South Africa to score because we needed a win, right? So we needed, when we lose the ball, the defensive midfielder should join the defense, and then the wingers must attack him, and then we can we can block them from creating space. And then when we have the ball, we were supposed to have spread that, but we were spread out.
Okay.
Maybe we are coming back late.
Back late, arriving late, recovery issues.
Yeah.
I want to ask this fundamental question. Now, we're doing a medium press in that game. So, do we continue pressing medium? Because when they get into midfield, they've got a numerical advantage. at least you've got two players. And I don't know whether you should quickly send Augustine and Ernest to continue pressing them so that it must be 1v1. You do space pressing in their own half, win the ball a little bit higher, because when they get into our own half and into the final third, they've got a chance of hitting us.
Yes, Zita, it's also a question that we should also ask ourselves that are you sure can we defend like that if we are playing teams like Cameroon, Algeria? Is that the way we're going to defend? Or is that the way we are going to be attacking? So it's a homework, is it, which our coach should also sit down. Yes, we won that game. We beat South Africa 2-0. But if you look at the way we beat that small boys who came, we should also put in something to show that if we meet a team like Cameroon, this is the approach we are going to give them. If we meet Algeria, this is the approach we are going to give. But our approach, if it goes like the way it was with a team like South Africa, then it's a question mark.
Okay, now, could it be a big indictment? This is a third string side, practically never played football together, and they were able to do that. Were they that good or were we that bad? How do you look at it?
You know, sometimes it's very difficult to play a team that has not played together, because they go in different forms. They go in different forms. But I think for us, what we needed to do is to move as a block. If we are going forward, let's close spaces behind and move forward up to maybe halfway line, and then it could have helped even the two strikers to come and help.
Okay.
So the loopholes could have been lessened. I know in football you can't close all these spaces.
Okay, now talking about failing to close all the spaces, yes, we're human. We're a team made of human beings. So South Africa had shots on goal. Let's look at South Africa's shot structure in this game where they lost by 2-0. Of course, those 2 goals came in the second half, deep into the second half. Now, look at that. They could have hurt us. That space between the lines. And that area is where you have Dorashano Malamalon. And the 3 players have won the duel against the Zambian 2 in the central areas of midfield. They get into the Zambian half between the lines. When our defensive line is on the edge of our 18, that's what happens. They were shooting and they even got into the 18. There are 3 opportunities in the 18 that they actually didn't profit from. But yes, basically, those were the shots that they were able to put in. Vespa. Yes. Again, it was them going terrorizing via the left, but leaving a lot of space. The third man runner coming into the in between the lines to actually profit from those.
Yeah, Zite, when I look at that, I ask myself, teams which are coming, like, is it Algeria?
Yes, the Desert
Yes.
Foxes.
Yes, so we should also look at the teams which are coming. And if we talk of Algeria, they have that that danger man of theirs, who they always he scores for their games. So if we look at the way we are organized in defense, Zite, it gives us also some question marks to say how are we going to handle these guys like big giants who are coming. Because me, I thought even when our coach is doing that, he's also planning ahead of the games which are coming. Zite.
Okay, let's look at the interceptions that South Africa made, because yes, Zambia was also attacking them, but let's look at the interceptions. Yes, South Africa, first half interceptions, look at how we were attacking them from different angles, but where they're winning the ball, but slightly higher up the pitch and not so much in the final third, but in the second half, they controlled the game so much that they could win the ball. We couldn't even get beyond that line of white footballs on the screen, Coach Mwinde.
Yes, there were a lot of interceptions there, but it's the style of how we are attacking. If you remember when we started scoring, we started opening up, and Godfrey Ngwenya was taking them on. And when he eliminates one, he attracts another one. So they were opening up. That's what we were supposed to have done even in the first half. We were supposed to have gone for them, attack them, attract them out there so that the numerical advantage is lessened. And then after that, we play 1-2 into the wing. And
when you look at that chart, are you comfortable with where South Africa was winning the ball and the frequency, the number of times we had to play? Because when you play long, your forwards or your attackers are receiving the ball with their back to goal.
To the goal, yes.
And they've got every chance of winning the second ball, especially if you're fragmented.
That's what I was saying. That type of play is supposed to be having a target man. We don't have bigger players like Jacob Mrenga, okay, who can hold the ball on his own and play it backwards and try to build the attack. But they were packed there because we were not removing them from there by carrying the ball to them. I think that's why they had the advantage. They were crowded. We couldn't penetrate. So if we had used the wing play, I think that was going to be an advantageous situation.
Okay, let's look at the corner structures for both teams. So South Africa in the first leg actually got 2 goals from set pieces. But bottom of your screen, those were the placement of the corners that South Africa had. And yeah, they were trying for that box, the 16, where they would probably get some goals. That's where they almost they got their 2 goals away from home. And up the screen, Zambia, that was corner placement. Again, we've won a lot of corners over 180 minutes of football, but we did not score from our set pieces. Vesper?
Yeah, I think we should also improve on our set pieces. Because if you look at the way we've been playing of late, we are having a lot of corners, but we are not even utilizing them. Because if you look at other teams, we are playing Cameroon, Algeria. They are very tall, very huge. They can jump and head the ball. But if we have players who can't utilize the chances of like set pieces, especially if you look at the way we have a lot of corners, then we still have a lot to do, especially having new players who are coming in. And the coach has got a lot of work to do.
All right, so probably that's one salient weapon that a team has to have, especially when a game is deadlocked. It's hard to carve out anything out of the opponents here, cancelling each other out. This is Zambia's Premier Analysis Show. It's time for us to take 5 after the break. We bring you in-depth analysis